Gentlemen, boys, and girls, welcome back to My Brother is an Idiot. We are the number one podcast in the world for 7 people. What in the fuck is
Where is that
happening?
piccolo coming from?
Whose fucking laundry machine just finished? Mark! You're the only one with your laundry machine in the same room as you.
It wasn't me, I swear.
Yeah, you haven't been summoned yet. Shut up.
Sit in the corner.
I got called out.
Sit in the corner.
I'm trying.
Oh, for fuck's sake. My name is Matt. I'm King of the Goons. Let me kick you around the rest of the squad. First, brought to you by Microsoft Edge, because apparently Firefox needed to be rebooted. We lovingly call her the dipshit. She is the voice of God. The producer, it's MJ. What's up?
Not much. I've been playing some Skyrim, but since I'm on this vastly inferior web browser currently, I can't see like my number of ads that I'm blocking at a time. It's depressing. I'm sad. I don't feel very good. Hooray.
Hooray! All right. Well, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Next, the co-brother-in-law to the Idiot Brothers. He is the owner and proprietor of Knox Nostalgia Collectibles, holding down the fort in Extreme Southern Command. What do you got going on today? Is that the Chiefs on your head? Can't. Oh, yeah. All right. I'm going to tell you what I told your father-in-law. You are now kicked out of the circle of trust. We give them no good will.
Oh, I got this hat when they decided to win their first championship in 50 years. My wife bought it for me.
That's unfortunate. Tank, what's going on?
Not much. Depressed about football. Excited about the Nuggets. That's about it.
Awesome. And finally, he jumped the gun, but we love him anyway. His washing machine is next to his head. I summon him, the man we have named the podcast after, Goon.
Hi, everybody. I'm here. Energy's pretty low in this room. Let's kick it up a notch, shall we? I want to say that I got a for fuck's sake out of Matt in the first 30 seconds of the podcast, so that's fantastic. MJ, sorry you're not feeling very good, but there's some big stuff that I know you're going to get passionate about later, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say about some shenanigans going on up in Canada there, where things are not very kosher. Tank, I'm sorry you're depressed about football, but nut up, buddy. Just because you suck at picks the last couple of weeks doesn't mean you got to be sad. It's going to be okay.
That was a rough weekend, man.
It's going to be okay. I'm a little sad today, too, because Colin Cowherd was right. I don't know if you saw his take on the Taylor Swift stuff, but he was right about something, and that makes me sad.
All right. Well, what did he say?
He just said that there is absolutely no reason for you to be upset about Taylor Swift. Like there is 14 minutes total of football in an NFL playing game, in 3.5-hour broadcast. You get more commercials than you do football. And Taylor Swift occupied 26 seconds of said time. And the fact that you're upset about 26 seconds and somebody being excited is just brain dead. That just means you're not a happy person. It means you're a miserable individual.
Can you at least tell me that Skip Bayless didn't say anything intelligent this week?
You posted a video with
Mad Dog Russo, yeah. Oof.
And as soon as he started talking, I had to click that video off because I just can't listen to that fucking.
He was right anymore. Though. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So if we would have had Bayless, Cowherd, and Russo all be correct in the same week, I think that's the sign of an apocalypse.
Well, broken clocks,
the three horsemen of bullshit.
Dogs,
exactly.
Assholes, right? They're both have sun shining on them twice a day. They're going to get, you spew that much nonsense, you're going to get something right from time to time. I mean, even Nick Wright does occasionally come up with a pearl of wisdom. Even though
I was surprised to find out he was human. Watching the video of him seeing the missed field goal in Buffalo was actually surprisingly, holy shit, this guy is actually like a real person. Like he's not just a fucking. That's the way he is.
They're all playing characters.
No, but that's the way he is in normal life. Like he was in his jammies, his fucking Casey jammies from head to toe, even like matching flip-flops. And he was watching the Buffalo game and trying to push the ball as he was kicking it, with his hands. He was just like every other fan, and it was good to see that. But he was still being obnoxious and saying, "I told you that was going to happen." It was just Nick Wright being like a bloke. It's kind of cool.
A bloke. All right.
Regular bloke.
Regular blokes indeed. All right. Well, we're going to move on to the first bit, and Dipshit has a game for us. We're going to call this the Dipshit's Game of the Week. We'll start with something of the week and end with something of the week. I love it. MJ, take it away.
Yeah. Okay. Game of the week. I got it from Puck Soup again. You're shocking, I know. This is a game called Surely That's Gotta Be It.
I'm sure it is, and stop calling us Shirley.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you a stat and a range, and you guys are gonna start naming dudes who are in that range. And if you think you've named them all, you're gonna say, "Surely that's gotta be it."
Oh.
If
Okay.
you don't think, you keep naming guys. If you get a guy wrong, you're out. I have 4 of them today, and since it's Super Bowl season, I have NFL playoff career stats. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. So we're gonna start with playoff career. Oh wait, how did I write it down? Career playoff touchdowns greater than 15. So guys who have 15 or 15 or more playoff touchdowns in their careers.
Just
Is
total
this-
touchdowns?
Like
Total
passing,
touchdowns.
running,
Touchdowns.
Touchdowns. Okay.
Touchdowns.
touchdowns. Okay.
All right. So in the
Okay.
playoffs, right? Not Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think that
Playoffs,
includes.
It's Super Bowl's in the playoffs. It's just
Yeah.
not regular season.
Right.
Just
Okay.
non-regular
Cool.
season.
I just didn't know
And
if
it's
it was
everyone that
playoffs
has.
only or if it was just Super Bowl only. So
That's 15 or more. Is that what you said?
15 or more.
who's going
Er,
first?
Let's do Matt.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, more than
Okay,
double. of
Let
most
me
people.
rephrase, because I don't think this is dudes who scored touchdowns themselves.
So not total
Not-
touchdown. Okay.
Not total
Not
touchdowns.
pass. I
So
don't-
receiving and running, right?
I'm
Got it.
yes. Sorry,
So
my
no
bad.
quarterbacks. Okay.
Okay.
I see no quarterbacks.
Okay.
Sorry, Football Reference just calls it
Mulligan.
touchdowns.
Yeah,
So,
that's fine. Mulligan.
That's
All right.
fine. That's fine.
Okay, Matt, try again.
Emmett Smith.
That is correct. Tank.
Tank's
Um,
over there staring at his phone, cheating.
Yeah, I see this.
I
yes,
see this.
that's exactly what I'm doing.
I'm not. I don't
Um,
use anything to research except my phone. Google.
You are
Turn
correct.
it over.
I was actually following along with the Nuggets game.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Fair enough.
LT, I think, right? Ladanian Tomlinson.
Oh God, no,
No.
Really?
You're out.
Incorrect.
No. Jesus.
Oh wow.
Mark.
Jerry Rice.
Correct. Matt.
This is a good one. Total touchdowns in the playoffs. Not Dean Tomlinson. Give me Marvin Harrison.
No Marvin Harrison.
What? Wow.
All right, Mark.
Okay.
You get a guess again.
Fuck. Total in the playoffs more than 15. I'm going to say this just for the sake of recency bias. Travis Kelce.
That is correct.
Yeah, he has to be on the list.
Yes.
Yep.
So, Mark, you'll
guess I
get the
win?
point. Yeah, you'll get the point. But you guys missed Thurman Thomas,
That
Uh,
makes sense.
That makes
Frank-
sense with Buffalo.
Franco Harris,
Makes sense.
and Rob Gronkowski.
Oh, Gronk.
It's surprising it's that few, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Makes a lot of
How many
sense.
how many did Marvin Harrison have? I'm just gonna look this up. Carry on.
Marvin.
Carry on.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
I do
You
see
your
Ladanian Tomlinson is tied for 44th with a billion dudes for 7.
I'm
I
surprised.
I was going to
it's
say
that
he
low.
didn't have that many times in the playoffs, though. That was
They
his
went to
problem.
the playoffs. They just never got past the first
AFC
round.
They went to the AFC Championship game once in his entire career.
Yeah, but they still went to the. They just never left the first round.
Dude, Marvin Harrison had 2. 2.
Jesus.
16 games.
Well,
2.
You have to remember that Peyton Manning was exclusively awful for a long time in the playoffs.
That's true.
Before he got over the hump.
They
And Marvin Harrison was, but he kept getting bounced in the first round, and Marvin Harrison was the recipient of a lot of that bouncing. He just looked awful in the playoffs for his first decade there. I get they were there a lot, but
yeah. 65 catches, 883 yards in 16 games. He had a regular season.
Oh yeah,
of playoffs. That's crazy.
Playoffs. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Okay, next one is going to be all-time sacks career playoff leaders. More than 10. So career playoff sacks more than 10, not including 10. Greater than 10, not greater than or equal to.
Fuck.
We will start with Tank.
I have to assume Terrell Suggs is on that list.
Terrell Suggs is on that list. Mark?
Now Mark's Googling.
No, I'm staring at my keyboard. Look, my hands are up. Here's my hands. I'm not looking at anything. My phone's way over there.
This is funny.
Bruce Smith.
That's probably a good
Bruce
one.
Smith is on
Played
that
for
list.
fucking long enough.
I figured if Thurman Thomas there, that somebody from the Bills had to be there defensively, and that was the only one I could think of.
Matt.
Oh.
DeMarcus Ware.
That's a good one.
Is he on there?
Maybe.
Do not see DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah, half his career in Dallas kind of fucked that up.
They still made the playoffs a couple times, and he was a hell of a player.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
All right.
They
Take back
bounced
to you.
I'd say him, get bounced in the first round, but he can still be a better defensive player than having to be dependent on the football, I think.
Right.
So it was a good thought. It was a good shot.
I guess it might be more of a hope, but I think Von Miller's on there too.
He is indeed. Mark?
There's two names that keep coming into my brain. One of them kind of is coinciding with what Frank said earlier, and I don't know if he had that many sacks in the playoffs. So I'm going to kind of go with what Matt did earlier with the wide receivers. It's probably going to cost me on this one, but I'm going to go with Dwight Freeney.
Dwight Freeney is on that list.
Yeah, that one makes sense.
All right, Tank, back to you.
Well, you're thinking DeMarcus had 7.5 sacks.
So close.
Close. Oh, yeah. James Harrison has to be on there.
James Harrison is on that list.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Mark?
I guess I'll say Ray Lewis just because.
Ray Lewis is not on the list.
Yeah, I didn't think he was, but, with Suggs on the list, I had to try it, and I couldn't think of anything else on the fly, and I didn't want to waste a whole lot of time.
All right, Tank.
Based solely on how many times the Patriots defense carried Tom Brady to a Super Bowl, I'm going to go with Willie McGinnis.
Willie McGinnis is on that list. He is, in fact, top of that list.
Wow.
With
That's
16
pretty
sacks.
impressive.
Like I said, carried his ass to a Super Bowl.
You guys missed Frank Clark.
Oh,
Makes
shit, he's
sense.
on that list that high?
Yeah.
Frank
Wow.
Clark. Yeah.
Reggie White.
He's played forever.
Oh, fucking Reggie White.
Reggie
God,
White.
How did none of us think of Reggie White?
I don't know.
right?
I don't know.
The GOAT, man. Fucking Reggie. May he rest in power.
Charles Haley.
That
played
makes
for-
sense.
Oh,
too.
God, he went to 5
Yeah.
Super Bowls, of course.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Clay Matthews. Lamar
Also
Woodley.
makes sense.
Wow, yeah.
Also
Wait,
makes
who did
sense.
you just say?
Lamar Woodley.
Oh, Woodley. Yep.
And Richard
Steelers.
Dent.
That
Richard
also,
Dent, that's
all
a
of
good
those
one.
make sense.
Yeah.
All of those make sense.
Yep.
A few of those are before my football watching time, so I wouldn't have, placed those necessarily. But yeah,
Right.
Reggie White was a big. We all missed that one.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
big
that's a
oof.
bad job
Yeah.
by us.
All right, we are
All
down
right.
98 to 103 with 16 seconds left.
Well, they got a chance, but Joker didn't play.
Joker did not play. Yeah.
Carry on.
Okie dokie. So the next one is all-time game-winning drives in the playoffs. for the careers. So number of game-winning drives in the playoffs in the careers. And we're looking for more than 5. Not more than and equal to, just more than 5. And we will start with Mark.
Sorry, the progenitor is texting me fucking very distracting things. Is he texting you too?
No, I'm
Is
getting
Milty
nothing.
texting you? He's being very distracting right now. But what was the question? Matt. This is like life-changing shit that Milty just said. It's good, but it's just like came out of left field.
I'm not getting it. Not getting it.
You're involved.
This is more than 5.
More than 5 game-winning drives in the
more
playoffs.
Than 5 game-winning drives in the playoffs. If you're going to go with me first, I'm going to go with Tom Brady.
That is correct. He's on the
obvious
list.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
now after that,
Matt?
you guys are screwed.
Yeah. Seriously.
I mean,
I can think of one other guy.
I have one other guy too.
Yeah.
Elway.
Go ahead.
That's what I was going to say.
He's got to be on the list.
He is on the list.
I can't.
I can't think.
I mean,
I can think of. I can
has
think
Patrick at more than 5 now?
Maybe.
Are you guessing Mr. Mahomey?
That's the only other person I can think of that might be there. So yeah, I guess Patrick.
Mr. Mahomey is not on the list.
Who the hell else is on this list?
I've got
Mark.
an interesting idea.
All right, what's your idea?
Probably no. I can't do it. I'm going to hold on to this one for a minute. Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw's not on the list.
Okay.
You know what?
I had it.
Here,
I know of
listen to
one
this.
that at least he had 2. I'm not sure if he had any more, but go on.
MJ.
Oh, shit, that had a
Yeah.
few.
Surely that's got to be it.
That is it. It's just the 2.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Hey, look at that. That's how the game. I forgot about how the game is
Forgot
played.
about that part of the game.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Damn.
You could just say no.
So how many does Patrick have then?
He is at 5.
Okay.
That's why I drew that cutoff there.
Does that
And
include
him?
last week? Or not last week, the week before?
Yes. That's up to date to last
What
week.
about Eli? Eli's got to be somewhere on that
He's
list.
got to be at
somewhere.
right on 4 or 5 or 2.
Montana and Mahomes are all tied at 5.
That makes
Did you
sense.
see the text I sent you, Matt?
No.
No, and he's not. He's saying that we're both on the text. We're not. So
No, he talked to me about it today.
okay.
I did hear
Okay.
about it today. So
Okay. Never mind. Carry on.
Carrying on.
You see why my mind is a little bit frayed
Yes.
right now? Okay.
Yeah, that's
All right.
This is the last one, and this is a MJ game. So we got to talk about kickers.
Oh. We're going game-winning
Let's do
field
it.
goals.
Let's go.
So this is career playoff field goals made, and we're looking for greater than 40. So more than 40 career field goals made.
Holy fuck.
Okay.
Matt, we're back to you.
I think this
Adam
list is
Vinatieri.
not as long as it seems like.
It's got to
it would
be, yeah.
Sorry, what did you say?
Adam Vinatieri.
Correct. He's on that list. Tonk.
What was that fucker's name? Goskowski.
It was sad, but I did know who you were talking about when you said that.
I think we all did. I think we all did.
The other Patriots kicker. That guy.
All right, Mark.
So we have that guy. We've got that guy. Holy shit.
That is a sad dog.
That dog is not happy, and
What
there's
is
no
going
reason
on
for
over
it. I don't
More
know.
than
I don't know.
40.
But more than 40 playoff.
Just teams that constantly go to the playoffs is what you got to think about.
I'm going to say Vanderjacked just because.
I see no human living people named Vanderjacked.
That's fine. I didn't think he was
Really?
on there.
Yeah. Is his last name Vanderjacked? I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
it's
Yeah.
Mike Vanderjack. Used to be the kicker
Yeah.
for the Colts.
I do not see.
That's fair. I didn't think he was, but I couldn't really think of anybody else off of the top of my head.
No, I don't see him anywhere. I don't know.
I lied. I can think of one more, but now it's too late.
I
Matt,
think
back
of
to you.
2 potentially.
Matt.
I know. I'm thinking. You know, it worked last time. Surely, that's got to be it.
Matt, you are the smartest person on this podcast.
Good job. Okay.
Second,
so-
maybe to Melty.
The other person I was
Right,
thinking
yeah.
of is David Akers. How close is he?
He's at 39. He
Holy
was
shit, all
so
right. Yeah.
close.
Because the Eagles went constantly when he was there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
He was there a lot.
Yeah, Vinatieri had 56 and
Jesus.
Gostkowski had 41.
Oh, he barely made it. I thought it was more
Yeah.
than that, to be honest.
Vinatieri is leagues and leagues away.
Yeah. Well, he played for
Kicked for 22
25
years.
Yeah.
16
And honestly,
rings.
I'm just playing Dan Campbell ball. I'm playing for touchdowns, not field goals. So I'm not going to go with that Shirley shit. I'm just going to guess. That's more fun for me. Dan Campbell style.
Yeah, I would have said Akers next. So
I am-
lost, apparently.
I am leaving after this, but I do need Matt and Mark to bring up that fucking Dorktown chart that I sent you guys. In Twitter
yeah.
earlier today.
Stupid Thunder.
I got it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
105,
Vis-a-vis
100.
Mr. Campbell.
Mr. Campbell. Yeah, we'll talk about it next.
We'll talk
as
about
a
it.
matter of
Yeah.
fact.
Wow.
Yeah, it's coming up
okay.
here.
Look at
I will
that.
see you guys later.
Listen
'cause I'm
if-
dying.
All right,
listen in if you're
MJ's
not
not
dying.
feeling well, so she is going to bounce. We love you and hope you feel better.
Mwah,
Thank you for the
goodbye.
game.
Still,
That was
still
entertaining.
did better than what's his fuck the last time he was in Denver. So we appreciate the effort.
What's his
Okay,
fuck?
bye.
Yeah, I'm not going to call him by his name anymore. He doesn't deserve a name. He's what's his fuck.
Who
Till
the
he
fuck
plays
are
in
you
Denver.
talking about?
You've been talking about him all week.
Oh, yeah.
What's
we'll
his
talk
fuck?
about that too? Yeah, what's his
Yeah.
fuck? All right.
Yeah.
Well, Tank, you mentioned it. We're sad about football. There's one game left, but since there's one game left, that means we have 2 games to talk about, and we're going to do it right now. San Francisco and Detroit. What a wild fucking game this one was here, boys. Full of twists and turns and all kinds of shenanigans. Tank, break it down. Take it away.
They took their fucking foot off the gas. That's what happened. I don't know what got in. For such an aggressive coach, that was the least aggressive play calling in that second half, minus going for it when he didn't need to. And I don't know what happened. They didn't try in the second half, and they let fucking San Francisco come back. I don't understand that game. I don't get it. It makes me angry. Literally. Sorry.
Mark?
What is wrong in 2024 in football with all of these motherfucking coaches who think that they're smarter than the game and they're running the ball super well and super effective in the first half and then abandon it in the second half and end up getting beat? This is the story of the 2024 playoffs. Why are we stopping running the ball? If that's the one thing you're doing right, why are we fucking knocking it off? It's happened 4 times this playoffs already, and Dan Campbell's part of that. His play calling on his 4th downs was terrible. I don't disagree with the calls. You've been doing that all year. And as Michaela so amply brought up, here is the chart that she was talking about.
Empty?
So depth. I don't know. There's a word there.
Deftly?
Whatever. No, it doesn't matter. Hold on. I got to kick my dog's ass for a second. No. This season, the Detroit Lions were 14 for 20 on 4th and 2. Actually, that's just during Dan Campbell's tenure. 14 for 20. That is a success rate of 70%.
Yeah.
This is good.
Mhm.
This is very good. 46-yard field goal with a replacement kicker. He's 11 for 17 from between 45 and 47 in his entire career.
Yeah, naturally. Yeah.
It's less successful, and you give somebody the ball potentially with better field position because you're giving up the 7 yards as opposed to, gaining 1 or getting a first down. It's just he's calling the right things and then just making idiot decisions offensively to go along with that. I thought the play calling was dumb. Dan Campbell will be back. He's lucky he's got an offensive coordinator coming back. That's going to keep that team relevant for another year. Otherwise,
they fire their replacement DC, they'll be fine.
Otherwise, this team is looking at they've already passed their window, and Dan Campbell kind of alluded to that in their post-game press conference, which was kind of a weird move too. I still love Dan Campbell. I still love what they're doing. I just thought that the fourth down play calls could have been a lot better, and I like the decisions to go for it. I'm not saying anything about that. Again, Brock Purdy is mortal though. He looks terrible. He does not look good.
And to kind of back up what you're saying, I don't disagree with the fourth down call. He's been doing that all season. But if you're in a situation where you trust going on fourth down rather than your kicker, then maybe you have the wrong fucking kicker. And
he was a backup kicker.
Yeah, but you can't do
a backup
anything
kicker.
about that.
You find someone else.
In the NFC Championship game, you can't do anything about that. There's not another kicker just laying around that you can pick up the try.
Right. This was there somebody else.
There's got to be someone sitting in the free agency pool to just like
that you trust with the game on the line.
And see if you can kick for him.
More than the guy that's missed almost 50% of his kicks in that range. Yeah, I'd go with a couple of people.
Wholeheartedly
Who
agree
are
with
they?
you, but name somebody.
Yeah, pick one. Janikowski's not coming off the couch. He weighs 400 pounds.
Where's McManus right now?
Still under contract in Tennessee.
Tennessee or Carolina.
Buy out that contract.
You can't do that mid-season. That's not a thing.
I'm just saying, I would have rather strolled out there with fucking what's his name, the safety from Kansas City, Reed. Rather have him try that fucking field goal than Badgley.
Well, he's not on the team either. So.
Here's the thing: just don't. Why on 4th and 2 are you trying to get cute? Just do what
agree
you do
with
on
that
4th and
too.
2. It's
100%.
terrible.
You shouldn't have tried to get cute. Their game's not cute. Their game is smash you in the fucking face until you give in.
Yeah.
Here's what I found. Go ahead, Mark.
That got nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. Here's what I found super. This game, from a philosophy and a cultural standpoint, was probably the most interesting of the two. You've got hyper emotional Dan Campbell, who's a rah guy. We all love the meathead in him. He does things that maybe other coaches wouldn't do, and we love him for it. And then you've got Kyle Shanahan, who is obviously the son of Mike. And Mike was cold and calculating. And I think Kyle is ice cold and calculating.
A technical wizard. Yeah.
He is just a robot. He's football AI is what he is. And the contrast and clash of these two styles was really fascinating. I didn't mind the kick at the end of the half to go up 17 points. I thought that made sense. I think points would be a premium. And then when they came out of halftime, you really saw where these two styles didn't necessarily lead to good things. They stayed the course on offense at San Francisco, but what they did is they changed their defensive philosophy to take that run away. And when they did run the ball, they weren't very successful. I mean, there were 1 and 2 yard runs. They had one run in the second half that was more than 10 yards, just one. And it was on that last drive. Once they started taking that away, and then the fumble on the second drive, which was just a killer.
Yeah.
You started to see, and Mark, you're going to hate this. You started to see
the momentum change.
The momentum absolutely changed. And because of the emotional component that Dan Campbell has as part of his makeup, they couldn't figure out a way to get it turned around. And it really started with the fumble.
I will agree with that, actually.
San Francisco scored. We had a ball game. They're only down by 7. They knew it was going to be run heavy. And then what they did is, because they took that run away, they put Detroit off schedule. Detroit has to run the football effectively in order to win the game. And then when they go off schedule and put it on Goff, granted, this is a first round or a number 1 draft pick, he started to look erratic, and it just didn't look very good. Then when they went down 7, when Detroit was down by 7 points, it was full bull panic. And to Mark's point, the play call on 4th down when they threw it deep, not a good play call. Dude, you got to try something.
Awful.
That was awful.
You have Jared fucking Goff.
Yeah,
you're going down. He's never been good at pushing down the ball down the field. Never.
No, he's
even with the sun god down the
right.
Down the
even
field,
with the best weapons he's had on offense,
Right.
he's not somebody that pushes the ball down the field.
Here's the one decision I have a problem with that Dan Campbell made. You get down in that neck of the woods towards the goal line, or towards the red zone. I shouldn't say towards the goal line because they didn't sniff it really. At the end of the game, you've got your 3 timeouts. Set yourself up to kick the field goal and give yourself some time. You've got the 3 timeouts. Give yourself some time to make a stop if you don't collect the onside kick. Onside kicks are what, 20% at best historically, and maybe over the last 5 years, that's probably down to 15%. Just doesn't happen.
2 successful ones in like 20 attempts this year.
Yeah,
it's really
it's been
bad.
awful. It's because the rules changed, right? You can't line up. You can't run. You can't start running.
Right.
You have to have an even number on both sides. And I get it. That's all safety stuff, which is why I think they should do away with onsides and do that 4th and 15th thing. But that's a whole other podcast.
Agreed. Different. Yeah.
So when they scored that, they went and scored the touchdown and left themselves no time. Kick the field goal there, bro. Kick the field goal, use your timeouts, and give your offense and defense a chance to actually play instead of rolling the dice on an onside kick with a minute left and they can just run out the clock. So that's the one mistake I think that he made, because it's a 2-score game. You got to get 2. One of them's got to be a field goal if you want to tie. Get the field goal.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, the problem is they already had the one bonehead play call, and that cost them a ton, right? And the fumble hurt too. Like, there's 2 big bonehead mistakes right there. And Kyle Shanahan's not going to let you recover if you make that kind of, 2 of those mistakes, let alone 3. 3 is a nail in the coffin. That's done.
Yeah. And they're a young team. A lot of their skill players are very young, and you could see some of that youth and inexperience show. Jahmyr Gibbs is absolutely on the hook for that fumble. Jamison Williams, I think the moment got to him a little bit. There was just this team's going to be back, and they've got some pieces to put together, and I think they need to maybe upgrade that offensive line a little bit. Graham Glasgow is a cast off of multiple teams, here being one of them. He's just not all that good anymore.
And Detroit.
Left Detroit, came here, then went back to Detroit and was serviceable, but wasn't great in this game. But this team's going to be around for a little bit. They're going to make some noise, especially in the NFC, where it's obviously that the teams aren't as good top to bottom in the NFC as they are in the AFC, right? So
I also would say defensive line depth would help that team a shitload.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no shit.
Because it seems like they get in trouble trying to stop the run in games sometimes, and that definitely started happening.
Yeah, they get worn out. Their depth isn't that great. So, but they've got a full draft, and with their offensive coordinator coming back, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the other game, Baltimore and Kansas City. This was wild. I didn't see this coming, did we, boys? Mark,
I saw it coming. But I know for a fact that you guys didn't. I've got it right here. Who do you want to start with? Me?
Yes.
So again, we abandoned the run in the second half. We put the ball in Lamar Jackson's clearly in his hands, and the moment looked a little big for him. He looked a little bit lost, like Josh Allen did in the fourth quarter, trying to find open receivers who were there. He just couldn't find them, and they abandoned the run. They were never out of this game. It's 17-7, and you stop running the football. What are you doing, Harbaugh? You're better than this. This was a terrible, terrible mistake by them. I just don't know. I don't understand why in January football, running the football is so hard in the second half for these teams. You can say you drag an extra guy in the box, but that's what you want them to do, so that opens up other things. San Francisco's got the pieces in place where they can have 7 guys in the box and defend the run still. I don't think Baltimore is that defense. You also saw the dominance of the Chiefs defense really clearly there. It's just smothering, absolutely smothering. The best defense that Andy Reid's probably ever had in his coaching career, and he's had some doozies in Philadelphia, and he's not had a defense like this in Kansas City before. This is insane, this kind of defense. And, they're doing things timely, and they've got the best quarterback in the world. And Mahomes is going to get you there as the best quarterback in the world.
Dank?
I would agree with that sentence if it was, they would have scored points in the second half. They didn't. The Ravens just fucked up. And I want to know if it was all Lamar Jackson's decision making or if that was some just dipshit play calling, forcing him to push the ball downfield for basically the entire second half.
I'm telling you, that's on Harbaugh.
Because
I don't understand it.
He was taking unnecessary shots, and it wasn't just like the pick, which obviously that was a stupid fucking throw.
That was awful.
And that was obviously dumb, but that was like the third one in a row that he missed the receiver downfield. That wasn't open.
Yeah.
That he was throwing to anyway for some reason. So I want to know who was calling all the go routes in that game that apparently weren't paying attention to the fact that the Chiefs have a pretty fucking good secondary over there. And then once again, like you said, they got away from the run, and not just the run with their best running team in the league, but also they got away from the run with Lamar, who was, even though they weren't completing drives, was gaining yards the entire first half. So I understand you're trying to protect your quarterback. I get that. They switched up the offense to make him pass a little bit more, and that makes sense. But when you have freedom to move with that kind of talent, fucking use it, please. Because it's not like the Chiefs were covering the middle of the field the whole game. It was open a lot. Go ahead. Yeah.
On that same point, you had a really good tight end for the last 8 weeks of the season that came out of nowhere when your really good tight end got hurt. And you had both really good tight ends in this game. Open all over the field and could not get the ball to him.
Yeah, except for one time when he threw into triple coverage.
Right.
Yeah, which he wasn't. The one time he wasn't open,
he threw it.
He threw it deep for no fucking reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Baltimore's defense actually did a good job of slowing everyone besides Travis Kelce down, basically.
Yeah. Well, that guy's gonna get his, right. I mean, it's Travis Kelce.
Not all the time.
Not against us. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. We gave you guys the blueprint.
He's had some pretty terrible weeks this year where he's had like 1 or 2 catches. But you're right. I mean, he's going to get his. The biggest thing, though, about that is they ran the ball effectively and they utilized the middle of the field on offense so that they could keep it between the 20s and just run the clock out.
Oh, yeah.
It was beautiful play calling by Andy Reid.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. They just couldn't finish drives, which neither team could in that second half. So
Right.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson picked the absolute worst day to play his worst game of the year. He was also sacked 4 times.
He was getting harassed, yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely under some pressure. Baltimore, Mark brought it up, Baltimore was out of sorts, and it's very unusual for a John Harbaugh coached team to look that way. I felt like they were in a bit of panic through most of the second half, even though you're only down by 7 points. It's like you don't.
Yeah, you're down 10.
Panic. Let's figure this out, right? I still think that this is the best year to get KC. If you can hold them to 17 points, Jesus, you should win the fucking game. But, if you can't score on offense and can't do the things and your quarterback's not playing real well, you got to figure something else out. Then they had a chance to get a stop in the last drive. And again, Baltimore being out of sorts, back-to-back penalties, one being a piddly 5, the other one being 15. That doesn't help your cause any at all. And they just kind of lost their composure a little bit.
Okay.
Gave him 23 yards.
Oh, here we go.
Roquan Smith one was on purpose. 100%.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He did that to give them a full set of yards and to stop the clock. That was actually a smart play.
Still gave him a first down.
Yeah, I understand that, but you could have either kept the clock running and they only have 5 yards to go, or say, fuck it, give them the yards, restart the down. It was still first down either way.
I think it's an interesting move if it's
the penalty.
It didn't, though. That was the problem. It was about to be a running clock again, and they could have waited. That's why because the first penalty wasn't a clock stopping penalty. The second one was.
Every penalty is a clock stopping penalty.
not
Not on the defense.
not on the defense. It has to be a
They'll-
certain
they'll-
type of penalty.
Oh,
Yeah,
against
they'll
inside of
set
2
the
minutes.
ball and then start the clock.
Yeah,
Right.
so they could have run out another like 30 seconds on that clock. So that was actually a smart
It was
decision.
an interesting decision. I wouldn't call it smart when
Yeah.
you give your opponent the fresh set of
Yeah.
downs when they're destroying you inside the 20s.
But they already had a fresh set of downs. It was first. If they wouldn't have committed the first penalty, I agree completely. But once they committed that first penalty, the second one was needed to stop the clock and get 5 yards. Because
It doesn't have to be
5,
15, though. I disagree. It doesn't have to be 15. Hold a guy, and it's only 5. Right? There's
But
other
they weren't
ways.
going to snap. They weren't going to snap the ball. He forced a penalty that.
Yeah, but you can move the guy off this. You don't have to destroy that fucking home.
I know, but
line
that made it fun.
from a 3-point span. That's why he got a 15-yard penalty. It didn't need to be a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, it didn't have to be 15.
True, I
It
guess
was,
he
a
could
silly,
just
it was an
approach.
interesting
Yeah.
call, but it was
Right.
very questionable.
Yeah. The other thing I found really interesting was, of all people to make a catch to seal it at the end of the game, it's MVS.
Jesus Christ! Yeah.
Right?
All of a sudden,
I think we
Kansas
said
City
that too.
receivers
Didn't we
can
say
catch
that
the
on
fucking
Twitter?
ball.
The fuck is this guy?
MBS showed up
weeks.
last week too. Yeah.
The last 2 weeks, he's had 3 catches over 30 yards, and the guy's been an absolutely Kansas City legend, even though they hated him for the first 19 weeks of the season. They
he had 10
hated
drops.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was terrible. And he was the guy they brought in to replace the whoever you want to say was there.
Smith
you know?
Schuster.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Smith Schuster. There was that guy, and he's been awful this year. So it's just very interesting. I don't know.
And they still could have got a stop if they wouldn't allowed that to happen, which you can cover that. I don't know what the fuck happened on that coverage.
They lost their composure and just
Oh, yeah.
couldn't figure it out. So,
Yeah.
oh well, there's only one team gets to win the last game of the year, and we'll talk about that at some other time. But let's move into some Pew Pick'em review. Mark, how'd we do?
Okay, first off, are we coming back to this next week and doing a Super Bowl show, or are we just going to go ahead and pick the game and just call it good? We should have talked about this probably beforehand, but the question is on the agenda and it never got answered.
I put it out there. No one decided they wanted an answer.
I know, but it's.
I think we do Super Bowl preview next week. I think that's
so. We're going to do another show next week.
Sure. We got to scramble.
Okay.
So why not?
Okay, cool. That's fine with me. Yeah. So just so you guys know, going into the first week. After the first week of the playoffs, Frank was in the lead 4-2. Matt was behind 2-4. I'm still a badass. So next week, after the divisional round of the playoffs, Frank was in the lead 6-4. Matt was breaking even at 500 at 5-5. Frank, you missed both of the picks this week, bud. You knew that. I mean, Matt, you missed the Chiefs pick, so you guys both had it, and I see where your point was, but obviously the other team won. So now going into the Super Bowl, you guys are tied for Pew Pick'em points at 6-6. Your records are 6-6 going into Pew Pick'em final. Next year, I think I'm going to do it a little bit differently where like the wild card games are scored a little bit less than the divisional, which is scored, add a little bit of weight to it. But we're just trying all this stuff out now. We're just making stuff up as we go along. So yeah, the initial lines right now, or not initial, but the current lines on this game, just to give you some food for thought for next week. The 49ers, who are technically the road team in this game in Las Vegas, are favored by 2. The Kansas City Chiefs are the home team in Las Vegas. Kansas City is a little further away than Santa Clara. And there's a giant mountain range in the way. But anyways, they are favored by 2 over the Chefs. The over-under is currently set for 47.5 in this game. We'll have some more in-depth stuff. We will probably do some prop picks. We'll do a whole hell of a lot of gambling stuff. That might be the entire episode, actually, just Super Bowl gambling and some pew. We'll see what happens.
So,
but go ahead.
Beginning of the year picks, we both got one in, I think, didn't we?
Yeah,
Me and Matt.
you guys both picked Kansas City, and I picked the 49ers.
Yeah.
So, oh wow, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool too.
You're both of you guys had the Eagles, and I
Yeah.
had the Jets. I bought
Boy,
into the
howdy.
A-Rod. Yeah,
Hey, I think the Jets go to the championship game. I
Yeah.
think so. I didn't.
Yeah, we'll break down that next week too. Like I've got all.
That's
that
just
still.
funny that we both did end up getting one in.
Yeah, that's awesome. All three of us got a team in.
Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome.
Weird.
Good for us. That's that 50%. Speaking of which, at this point, let's go ahead and call out to Peter Schrager, who's got a lot of Denver ties. Peter Schrager works for the NFL Network, general all around, considered a very good guy in NFL circles and very, very smart individual, has sent a tweet out the last 5 years in a row before the start of the season, making a Super Bowl prediction with 5 minutes before the season starts. He has been right every year on that prediction. 5 years in a row, he's won that prediction. Isn't that insane? 5 years in a row, he's predicted the Super Bowl, the two teams in the Super Bowl before the season started.
Well, so he's the script writer.
He might be. Peter Schrager might be the guy.
Jesus Christ.
I don't believe in the script, but
Yeah, me neither.
I do.
But if you were a person who is
the
believing,
last 2 weeks, Jesus.
if you were a person who is believing
come on.
in, if you were, I'm stomping all over that because I don't care about that conversation at all. I get it all fucking day. You two boneheads are smarter than that. Stop this.
I'm on your side on this.
I know you are. I'm just, before it even becomes a thing, I'm stopping it. And yeah,
you can't
we're
stop
gonna
the
do some-
truth. You can't stop the truth.
You know what I can stop?
No.
What?
Talking?
Yeah, yeah.
You say you
I
can
thought it
stop
was funny.
tank pausing in the middle of a sentence. Is that what you
No, I can stop talking.
All right, good job. So more to come next week. That sounds like a good time.
The
Mark,
Super
looking
Bowl
forward-
will decide it all.
Now, this May
May.
depends on which way we go. Right?
Might.
Let's see. Yeah, might.
Right.
I
It's a
think it
strong
will
one.
though. I think it will though.
I
If
think it
if
might
I'm thinking I know what I know, and here's what I know is Frank's wearing a Chiefs hat, and Matt picked the 49ers at the beginning of the year, and both of you guys hate being wrong, so you guys will pick the teams that you're currently repping.
Right.
Well, and I
That's
picked
my-
Kansas
that's
City
my
at the
initial
beginning of
thought.
the year too.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'd rather win, but I got to be consistent or whatever. All
Right.
right, let's move on to news and notes. In the NFL, there is only one NFL head coaching job as it was earlier today. Jesus, quick. Mike McDonald, the Ravens defensive coordinator, has been hired as the head coach in Seattle. Another youth movement, younger cat going to take over for Pete Carroll. Apparently still in the building, Pete Carroll, but whatever. Mark, what do you think about this move?
That's fine, I guess. You know, I don't know. He's like another Pete Carroll type guy. You know, hard nosed defense. You know, very similar mindset. So that to my thoughts, Pete probably got his guy. He's the senior football guy in the building. He probably kind of handpicked his replacement. Would be my thought.
Tank?
So it's fine. That's fine.
I was actually leading the same direction. This seems like it was he had a hand in picking his successor on this one, and picked a guy that was like Mark said, very similar. So
Yeah.
it's surprising. The only reason it's surprising is because he's not one of the more obvious picks that were still available, I guess. But when you really look at it, it makes sense.
You had to figure Seattle was going to go youth movement just because Pete Carroll was sticking around. So I didn't think that, the big names like Vrabel or Belichick would have had any hope up there just because Pete's in the building.
Yeah, agreed. It's definitely a Pete Carroll type guy, and he's coming out of the Harbaugh school. So, they're going to run the ball. What does Seattle do? They run the ball. They're going to play defense. What does Seattle do? They play defense, right?
Not this year.
So,
On occasion, they did. Sometimes. It's like Y in the alphabet. Sometimes
sometimes why?
sometimes
they're
D.
So we've got one job left. It's the Commanders. We know that
Where?
Ben Johnson. Oh, sorry. We have one job left. Where is it? Where is it, Mark?
Washington.
Washington. One job left. The Washington Commanders. And we know that Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator, is out. He is returning to Detroit. There's a lot of different ways they could go here, fellas. And I've got a name in my mind that makes some sense to me, but that doesn't always mean anything. Tank, you got any predictions about where this is going?
At this point, not really, because the other big name was what's his face from the Texans, and he's not going anywhere either. So
Right.
Yeah, still Slowick. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to guess, this would be the Vrabel job if he is planning on returning, because it makes sense. He's a guy that you could probably trust with rebuilding a really shitty team to at least be a decent team, and he's kind of has the mentality of, sticking around for the long run, so that might be the best bet.
Mark?
Here's a name that's still out there, and I know he's interviewed for the jobs, and it's not something that we've talked about yet. Dan Quinn.
Mm.
He has been interviewed for this job. I think there's the reason why they haven't decided on somebody yet is they're still waiting to see what happens in this game and then maybe try to poach from one of the other teams. So there may be a candidate that we haven't seen. I don't think Spags is going to get another head coaching job, but maybe he wants it. I think he's done head coaching at this point. He's enjoying being a defensive coordinator way too much to go back into head coaching, and he's destroying it. Obviously, Spags is going crazy, and Kansas City loves him, and that team loves him. So I don't think he's going anywhere. To me, I think Dan Quinn's the favorite, but there's got to be somebody else out there, else they would have already gotten him.
Well, like you were saying, poaching, they did poach someone from one of these teams last year, and he's been interviewed for this job also, and he already works for Washington.
Oh, Bieniemy? Yeah. And I would not be heartbroken if they gave him the job. But if you think that we talked about this last week, Matt, I don't know if you remember that, but we actually brought this up on the show that I have a Washington Commanders fan that sits at my bar, and he wants Bieniemy, but I think they would have given him the job by now if that's where they were going.
Yeah, and I think that there's definitely still something to EB that runs a lot of people the wrong way, and we heard reports of that at the beginning of the season where Riverboat Ron had to tell him to calm it down. That's been his MO.
Yeah. Being told by Ron Rivera to calm down.
When Ron Rivera tells you you've got it turned up too high, you might want to check
or what?
There's purple drench going. And...
Yeah. I mean, Bieniemy's wound pretty tight, and we know that, from even seeing the disaster that happened in Colorado a few years back. But yeah, I'm with Mark. I think if they were going to give it to EB, they would have done it already. That's just a natural in the building move, unless they get another chat with somebody else and just aren't thrilled. I agree with Tank. I think the name that makes the most sense to me here is Vrabel. He's kind of cut out of the same cloth that Ron Rivera is. He's a defensive-minded guy, big into culture, even though he's hard-nosed, doesn't take a lot of guff, but his players love him. And it makes sense, right? He's coached poor rosters with a couple of stars and had success, and knows how to put together a staff to get the most out of that poor roster. Now, Washington's got some draft capital coming up. They were able to offload some of their defensive line talent and get some picks. So let's see what they do with that. And I think that might also have something to do with why they're waiting, because they want to see if there's a coordinator on either one of these teams that they want to grab. Maybe he's got some ideas as to what to do with some of those picks to rebuild this team, because they do need a little bit of help, right?
Just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. All right, that's enough of the NFL. Let's move into the NBA. Now, this does not include the game that just happened, but as of yesterday, the Nuggets were 33-15. They were the number 2 seed and half a game back of Actually, that should be OKC, but whatever. Half a game back of first. They lost to OKC, so I believe that they're now a full game back of the Thunder and still a half a game ahead of Minnesota. Boy, we had
I'm looking at it right now. Sorry, and they're still half a game behind the Thunder and a full game and a half behind Minnesota right now.
Oh, they're a game and a half behind Minnesota, so they're back at third. Yeah. Okay,
right, and that's as of current.
And they're half a game ahead of the LA right now.
Yep. So we had a really interesting game on Saturday, guys, with all the news and shit that was flying around. So Philadelphia comes into town. We know they're not going to have two of their studs. The report came out on Friday that Embiid was not on the injury report and was going to play. And then, Mark, suddenly, 5 minutes before tip, we get word the medical staff has shut Embiid down. Embiid hasn't played in Denver since 2019.
What a bizarre situation. They have him doing private workouts before the game, which apparently he's not normally doing. But he did a private workout before the game, and he looked great. Although he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, they show him putting up like 4 or 5 shots. His shot looked good. His legs looked good. He was running around fine, but he couldn't hit anything. So maybe he just thought he was cold that day and decided he didn't want to play. I don't know. It's weird, and nobody's, everyone is talking about it now. This is the thing that it's still, and it seems like it's heating up as the week goes on. Which is interesting because it happened on Saturday and we're still talking about it on Wednesday, and it's becoming national news now on a Wednesday because of stuff that happened last night.
Well, it was national news on Saturday, and it's only getting more momentum because of all the things that happened in between then and now.
The news cycle generally doesn't shift on the weekends. It usually Monday through Friday is when the narrative is built. They generally, that's why you have the Friday dumps on a lot of things, like the McMahon news, the Vince McMahon stuff came out on a Friday to try to bury it as much as possible. But I don't know what to say about Embiid. You can't, and now he's going to be hurt for a foreseeable point of time. He had to have seen this coming, that he was going to get hurt. He's not a healthy guy, typically. And if he misses more than what is it, 18 games that he's not in consideration?
Yeah, he's got 5 games that he can miss now.
Yeah,
and probably mark that down to 3 or 4 after this current thing gets worked through. Tank, what's your reaction here?
Oh, yeah, I can kind of sit in the same way you guys are right now. It seems I'm wondering. I don't think he was trying to avoid Joker, so I don't think that was the thing that was happening. I do think a little bit of him doesn't want to get the response he's going to get in Denver, because they are going to boo the shit out of him every time he touches the ball in Denver. But yeah, him being injured again, like, that's not only is that going to do damage to him personally and, his end of the season stuff, that's going to hurt the Sixers a shitload. And they're too far down the list to really risk too many games at this point.
He's going to want that game against the Nuggets back.
Yeah.
He's going to want it back badly.
Because I think they're in 5th in the East right now with 3 teams only a couple games away. So that's not great for them.
No.
Right. First of all, I do want to call out, and I don't know if it's just this year, if I just started paying attention to it, but the basketball IQ and the troll level IQ of the ball arena crowd is absolutely spectacular this year. We start the season with "Who's Your Daddy" being chanted at the end of the year, or the end of the game against LA, which is one of the funniest things I've ever been a part of. That was just so amazing. But then all the way through this game, we hear, "Where's Embiid at?" when he was in the locker room. And he wasn't playing. And granted,
he was there. He wasn't in the locker room. He came out at like third quarter and waved to the crowd.
Yeah, he did come out. So, and I was going to bring that up because Tank mentioned the crowd response. I think if he was worried about that, I don't think he comes out of the locker room and waves to the crowd. I don't think that matters that much to him. You get abuse as a road NBA player all the time. I think there's a couple of things going on here. One, it's a very interesting comparison to how organizations treat injuries when you look at these two teams. You've got Denver, who did the extraordinarily smart thing with Jamal and MPJ in the season of 2022 or 2021, 2022, and let them recover on their own timeline. And now you've got the Sixers, who can't seem to pull their head out of their own ass when it comes to managing Embiid. I watched that whole game last night. I believe that he was truly injured and probably should not have played Saturday. And I believe that he was hurt and should not have played that game in Portland. And I also believe he had no business being on the court last night. He was a shell of himself. And whether it was he let the national chatter get to him, whether the league had something to say about it because of the investigation of him not being on the report and there being a big stink about it and, things going on behind the scenes, whatever it was, the Sixers needed to do the smart thing. And sure, okay, you think you're good, whatever, right? And players lie all the time. They do it in every sport. As soon as he comes out and he goes back into the locker room in the first quarter, don't send him back out again. There's absolutely no reason for him to play the rest of that game because he's clearly not right.
Right.
Now, I will say this. The injury that he had going into the game is different than what he's dealing with now. Kuminga fell on him, hyperextended his knee. They said it's not the same injury. It's the same knee, but it's not the same injury. Knock on wood, because he is an amazing talent. He's one of the top 3 or 4 talented players in the world. And in terms of production, he's one of the top 2, and at least in terms of points, he's outstanding when he's right. The Philadelphia 76ers fumbled the bag here and did so in a way that puts not only their number 1 world-class, by far and away most important player in jeopardy, but also, to Tank's point, their season, because they could not and would not stand up to Joel Embiid to say, no, bud, you are not going in this game. You are not okay. That's where I stand on that one.
Yeah.
Then the next game the Nuggets play, they play a full-strength Milwaukee team after playing with their food and making it more interesting than it needed to be in Philly. They beat the Bucks, a full-strength Bucks team, and what a fantastic game this one when it was here, fellas. Tank, did you get a chance to look at any of it?
Oh, yeah, I caught up a little bit. I didn't get to watch it live, unfortunately, but I did catch up on the highlights and some of the stuff that was going on. That was about as good game as you could have got in that situation, I think. And I think it is it could end up being a finals matchup. Mm-hmm. It really very well could be, because the Bucks are still looking good. I think they're number 1 in the East, right?
No, they're not number 1. They're number 2 in the East.
Number 2?
Yeah, Boston's number 1.
Boston's
that's right. Fuck yeah. Fuck Boston. That's right.
That's right. They beat them too.
Yeah. But I also think that, weirdly enough, that Doc Rivers replacement seems to have, even though they're still dealing with trying to figure that out, it might have been a good decision based on how the players looked, because they seemed excited. But
what does that tell you?
That they didn't like that other coach very much.
That they absolutely pushed him out.
They pushed him out. That was a team effort. They got rid of that guy.
Yeah.
But then you got Doc Rivers.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just there to be one of the boys. That's what he does. He's
kind of
won
what
one
they
championship,
wanted.
we talked about this last week. He had 1 championship and he had 5 Hall of Famers and 1 Hall of Very Good on that same team. Doc Rivers is not a good coach. And he set himself up for failure. Well, not for failure, but he set himself up so in case he doesn't meet expectations this year and the team does have a fallback or they lose in the playoffs, he's already said it. This is going to take me some time to figure this out, guys. He already said that. Doc Rivers is so good at deflecting stuff. The guy is amazing. Like, as somebody who is rooted for Doc Rivers, he was the coach of my team for a long time and won his one championship was in green. But he's not as good of a coach. He's just a player. He's just there to be with one of the boys. And he set himself up so that if they do fail, it's not going to be that hard of a fall with his grand entrance. And that was really cool to see. You don't get to see a lot of Milwaukee press, but the Denver press was all over it. The fact that Doc Rivers' opening press conference was in a visiting locker room. They were all there. Vic Lombardi posted a ton of video about it.
Mm-hmm.
It was brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
And so the Denver media, man, something has happened in the Denver media in the last 10 years where we have gone from being kind of a nobody, organization to where all these guys are, Schefter was from here. Peter Schrager was from here. All these guys are big names now. You know what I mean? It's just kind of cool. Denver's kind of a good media spot to be in now. It's fun.
Doc Rivers' career reminds me a lot of Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, 100%.
Or even better, and I know this guy didn't win a ring, but he also reminds me a lot of Marty Schottenheimer. Like Schottenheimer used to say some really goofy ass shit, but was a player's coach. And just didn't do a lot with the talent he had. I mean, shit, he had Phillip Rivers forever, right? I mean, but just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, the best offense and best
LaDainian Tomlinson. Come on. Drew Brees. He was there too.
Yeah, but he didn't
for a bit. Yeah, he was there for a bit.
Yeah, and they thought he had a bad shoulder, so they let him go. The one thing I do want to bring up, and I put it here on the agenda, and I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but the 2-man game when Reggie and DJ is in the game, which isn't that often. We probably saw quite a bit of it today. I'll see some highlights later and see what that all looked like. But that 2-man game with Reggie and DJ, when they're running it instead of Jamal and Joker, looks a little bit different. There's that bird again. Yeah. And I don't know if you saw DJ just posterize Giannis on a lob from the top of the key. It was absolutely spectacular. Oh, yeah. I'll find it. It's on the Denver Nuggets TikTok. It's very, very good. DJ is one of those guys, and he said it himself. He's probably going to play every 6 or 7 games, but he gives you some good minutes, and he can still jump a little bit. So that was always fun. Your weekly reminder that the best player in the world resides in Denver, Colorado. And this, I'm going to start doing these, I think, every week. Your outlandish Joker stat of the week. Oh, time for night-night. Night-night.
She grabbed a different notebook.
Tiller said night-night.
King Goon says night-night.
Good night. Client 1, client 2, client 3.
Nice.
Looks fun.
She's all work from home now, so it's kind of awesome. Right. Perfect.
So Joker is currently 19 triple doubles behind Magic Johnson on the all-time list, and he's climbing up. And we figure that sometime in 2026, I think he's going to get it based on the pace he's on. He did that so he's 19 fewer in 263 fewer games than Magic Johnson played. If I didn't see that documented, I never would have believed it. The things that this man has done and will continue to do are absolutely outstanding. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, and just under the radar too, I know he's getting some media attention just because they won the championship, but I still think that they're just under the radar. Nobody's talking about how dominant Joker has been against all these other records and how young he is compared to a lot of these guys, that he's just crushing these records. He easily the best basketball I've seen live in my entire life. Easily.
Tank?
Oh, yeah, agreed. I mean, I actually think it might happen before 2026, to be honest. If he hits a hot streak like he did earlier this season and, punches a bunch of those in consecutively, you could see that happen. I think in maybe a little over a year, next year, around the same time potentially. Yeah, it's hard to say he's not the best all-around basketball player, right? I mean, he's not the point scorer that Embiid is, but he gets the rebounds, he gets the assists, he gets the points, and basically does what he wants on the court unless people start poking him in the fucking eye. So,
and even then,
Jesus. I don't know if next year is going to be doable. I mean, you're talking about an 82 game season, and I think you'd have to have like 65 in order to catch him, in order to catch Russell in those 82 games. But nothing's certainly outside of the realm of possibility. But that'd be a tough road.
Oh, it'd be hard. It'd be difficult. Yeah.
Super difficult. And when you look at the rankings of points, rebounds, and assists, Joker's on 2 of the 3 top 5 lists in rebounds and assists. Now you figure a center, rebounds, that makes a lot of sense. But assists, Jesus fucking Christ, are you kidding me? This is unbelievable. Moving on, I think since MJ's not here, we don't have a whole lot to talk about in hockey, unless Mark, you've got some details about the legal issues in Canada. I have not had a chance to catch up today.
There's some stuff that's come out, and TSN is reporting it. 5 of these guys are going to turn themselves into London, Ontario police. There's going to be a press conference with the police department on Monday, I believe. It's the 6th. I can't remember if that's Monday or Tuesday, but they are going to announce some stuff. They are already working with 2 of the players that are working overseas. One of them is with the Swiss, and I can't remember what the other guy's name. There are 8 total. 1 is not playing hockey right now. 5 are in the NHL. All 5 of those players that are in the NHL have already asked for releases. Every single, or not asked for releases, but they've been placed on indefinite, leave of absence. All of these players have come out through their attorneys at this point and said something to the effect of, we're going to fight this. It's, blah, 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 all the lawyer talk. 2 of these guys, one of them is in Switzerland and there's another one that's somewhere else. They are coming back to London if they're not back already. So everyone is preparing for something. There is still not a lot of information. One of the names that I find interesting on this list, there's a bunch of them, but one of them is Cal Foote. So Adam Foote's kid is involved in this, which is kind of sad. But one of the guys, one of the stories that's being reported by TSN is that this girl met one of the hockey players at an awards banquet after juniors, invited. I'm sorry. This is from the civil suit that had already been settled. So the initial civil suit that's been settled includes her going back to this guy's hotel room where they had consensual sex. And then he said, "You have to do this with my buddies," called 6 of his friends. And despite her saying no, they took advantage. That's what the civil suit was. If they're all preparing for criminal stuff, this is going to be a doozy, guys.
Well, 4 of them were officially charged yesterday.
Yeah.
So 4 of the 8 were already officially charged with sexual assault. So that's not a good sign. Let's put it that way.
The interesting thing will be the press release when it happens through the police department, because we will get all of the details of the investigation. We just have to wait a few days longer to find that out, but holy fuck. I got into a conversation with somebody at the bar today and this is kind of the state of things in our country, honestly. But he started saying, hockey's the only good old boy sport. And, this is a man sport and you can get hurt and walk away and that kind of shit. And it took every fiber of my being not to take him outside and hit him and just be like, bro, you don't understand what's going on here. This is not okay. This is not good. You can't, I don't care what year it is. You can't do this kind of shit.
So apparently this happened at an awards gala to celebrate the 2018 juniors World Championship win that Canada had won. They won it in January. They finally got the awards gala together in June of 2018, and this happened. It's just an awful situation. Nothing you ever want to ever see happen to anybody. It's just you hope and pray that it all comes out okay for all. people involved and everyone gets what they deserve is the best way that I can put it. So that's enough boring and depressing shit. Let's talk some fun shit. Hey, looks like the Orioles guys are going to get sold. Angelo's getting out of the baseball business, Mark.
Yeah, they finally got good, and so somebody else has interest in doing it. And so the Angelos are like, well, I'll strike while the iron's hot. We hated this shit anyways. Get us out of it. And the ownership group that's coming in, don't know much about them, but what I do know is Cal Ripken Jr. is involved in it, and that's the way it should be. He is the Baltimore Orioles, and so I'm totally okay with this. I don't even know if our father knows about this yet. I'm sure he doesn't, but it's really cool. It's not like the John Elway and the Broncos thing. This is somebody who is a proven good guy, played every game for 135 years. I'm pretty sure his rookie season was Babe Ruth's last year in the majors. He played for fucking 150 years, man. It's just insane. And just to see him, take care of his brand and take care of his people and be able to come back and buy the team that, gave him his entire career. It's just a way to, it's awesome. It's just so cool.
Right. It is a group of private equity investors. So we all know how much money those guys have to throw around. And I think they're bringing Cal Ripken along for the ride.
Yeah. Right.
Also,
there
Grant
is
Hill.
definitely
Randomly, Grant Hill is also part of that investment group.
That's cool too. Whatever. I love Grant Hill.
There's a lot of optics involved here, right? You definitely want, you're not going to bring in, they're not a bunch of baseball guys or a bunch of sports guys that are coming in to buy it. And so they have to bring someone in that understands. And well, who better in Baltimore than Cal Ripken Jr.?
Right. And, the nice part about that organization, and the Angelos did some right things and hired some baseball people. And those baseball people brought baseball people into the building. And so the culture has completely changed. Buck Showalter had a lot to do with that back in the day when he was still coaching for him, and just made them a much better baseball organization. And it just made it so much more attractive to buy because these guys are built for a long time. They've got a great farm system now. And so this ownership group will just be able to ease right in. It's not a messy transition at all. This will be nice and smooth for them, and they'll continue to be playoff losing teams for years to come.
Tank?
Yeah, this is a good story. I do think it's kind of funny because just all the random people seemingly associated with this. Because I think it was Bloomberg, also former mayor of New York, is also part of this investment group apparently. Who he's a money guy also, so that's kind of funny how that played out. Since it's a good transition and it's not like one of these hostile takeovers or fights that you see drawn out for a long time, I think overall it's going to be good. Like you said, bringing Ripken in, you know that guy has the team's best interest at heart. So hopefully, maybe they'll win a playoff series at some point in the next 20 years.
It's also really interesting. Sorry to jump back in, but the Angelos were one of those organizations that were they were laughing stocks for a while, right? They were like the Spanoses, like the Davises now. They were just kind of a laughing stock of an ownership group, and to see them rehab their image and be able to put on the best team in baseball last year, and they're built for the long haul. It's good to see somebody, be able to turn that kind of shit show around and be able to walk away with their heads held high and go do something that's not baseball because they don't know anything about it.
Well, John Angelos is going to stick around as a senior advisor, so we'll see how well that works out.
He gets free tickets. That's all he cares about. He just likes to go to the games.
The co-founder of the Carlyle Group, David Rubenstein, is the leader of this group. He's also a Baltimore native, so you can see where some of that stuff came up. And
plus, it's a beautiful stadium, to be honest.
It is.
It's the same group that built Coors. They did them within a couple years of each other, and it's the exact same architecture firm that designed both of them. So you can see, if you look at them both, they're not similar, but you can see the similarities, if you know what I mean. The
feel, the fan friendly layout,
right?
The field
surroundings,
All right, good story there. Let's move on to the last one. Let's go. What the fuck is going on down here? Oh, Jesus. Scroll down the agenda. She drew stuff.
Oh,
Did we get a new picture?
we got a new
We got a
picture.
new picture. We
I
got
thought-
SpongeBob. We got SpongeBob saying "fuck you."
Goodness gracious.
Pull it up. There it is.
That's awesome. I made some changes to the Appendix A as well. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Changed some words. Yeah.
Glad you had fun with that.
You're an
let's-
ass.
So
But it's
speaking of dipshit, let's move on to the final bit and talk about the dipshits of the week. I never start with myself, so I'm going to start with myself here. I'm going to pick everyone and anyone who was involved in this Joel Embiid situation, to include young Mr. Embiid himself. Can't do it that way. Can't handle that situation that way. Got to put him on the injury report. You know he's hurt. You know he's not 100%. He's got to be reported. They take too much money as a league from the gambling people to advertise, to have there be any hint of any impropriety and things like this, and then turned around and got the guy even more seriously hurt. So everyone involved in that situation gets my dipshit of the week. Tank?
I have a tie. I'm going to go with Dan Campbell and John Harbaugh. I think for very obvious reasons. Weirdly enough, I think the refs did a decent job of calling shitty calls for all 4 teams. So I think it was pretty evenly terrible officiating across both games. So I do not say fuck them for anything they did this week.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to call that out or not.
Yeah, they did a terrible job on all fronts. This week.
Equally bad everywhere. It was all bad.
Terrible.
It was all really bad.
Right.
It was all really bad.
Mark, what you got?
If you will turn your attention to what I just posted in the Discord, Matt, you may have seen this earlier if you saw the post that I put on Twitter.
What the fuck?
What you will see is ace pitcher Kyle Freeland shotgunning a beer at an Avalanche game. What you won't see is anything in his hand to open the can with. He punctured the hole in that can with his finger.
Good on him.
Yeah, it's a really cool move. Unless you rip a hole in your finger and you're a pitcher and you're about to start your Major League Baseball season.
Also true.
So I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool. Don't get me wrong.
It is very cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool
The funny
move.
thing is, I was at this game. He did it twice.
Did he?
Yeah, he actually did it twice. Now, and Mark, you already know
there you
this
go.
story. So I just put the picture in the Discord. We were in a suite, like 4 doors down from where the Rockies were, and this is one of my buddies that I was with, and he went out into the hallway, and Kyle Freeland walked by and totally thought that this guy was Dalton Reisner. And started talking. Dalton, good to see you. How's everything? Nice to meet
Oh
you.
my
Glad to finally,
God.
right? And I've known this guy for a couple of years. I'm like, Jesus, I've never put that together. And he's legitimately like 6'2", 6'3". He's a big burly guy. He's got the beard. Yeah,
How
I've never seen him
drunk
with
was
sleeves.
Kyle
Yeah, I was going to say,
Freeland?
he must have been pretty fucking drunk.
Can you see it though? I mean,
A little,
yeah.
a little bit. But
According to this guy, it happens to him all the time. When Reisner got
that's
drafted,
fucking funny.
when Reisner first got drafted, he got stopped downtown by a lady who asked him for his autograph, and he signed it. Thanks for being a fan, Big Will, because she thought he was Reisner. I don't know if I'm talking out of school or not, but I think it's absolutely hilarious.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So good.
So yeah, my dipshit of the week is also kind of a hero. So we love you, Kyle Freeland, but if you want to pitch, maybe not do that when
let's not go
February
ahead and
is
get
tomorrow.
injured.
Right.
Although with our
Pitchers and
ownership,
catchers in like 2 weeks,
Sure.
guys.
fucking
Yeah.
owners would grow conscious and realize they don't know shit about baseball and sell it to someone good. That'd be fucking great.
Man, on your long list of things that you can wish for.
Don't.
Yeah, I think I'm
will
gonna
never
hit the
happen.
lottery before that happens.
Yeah, they have absolutely no reason to sell this team unless people
Nope.
stop showing up.
Which is
And
not going to happen.
As long as the Red Sox, Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, Cardinals, Astros, Braves, Brewers, Twins keep coming here. I mean, I could go on and just name all the teams. So as long as those teams keep coming here, people are going to go still see those games. And they're going to put 35 grand in the seats every single night.
And the voters in Denver gave them a square block, and it has made them very wealthy,
So much
independently of the Rockies.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't have to go anywhere.
No.
Just sell the Rockies. Keep the rest of it. I don't give a shit. Just get rid of the Rockies.
But they own the stadium. They don't have to.
Yeah, they don't have to. Anyway.
It's probably a tax write-off. The baseball team is a tax write-off for everything else.
I believe it was 2 days ago was the anniversary of Nolan Arenado being sent packing with a $50 million paycheck for the Cardinals.
Worst trade in the history of
And
the
he'll
franchise.
still be your number one on the payroll this year, too.
I know.
Mhm.
I can't believe I still can't.
He's the
believe
highest
we
paid Rocky
gave
again.
away the player. We still pay him, and we gave them $50 million. What?
Yep.
He is the highest paid player on the payroll. That is amazing.
Right.
He's been gone for what, 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
Yeah.
This will be the fourth.
Yeah. You know what? It is fucking too early to get this depressed about this bullshit. Pitchers and catchers haven't even fucking reported yet. So
It's never too early to be depressed as a Rockies
I,
fan.
honest to God, thought Sarah was just going to reach through the screen and bitch slap. That's why I leaned back just
can't
then.
hear you. Yeah, I got the butts in.
I
Yeah.
know, but like she has to know what you're talking about. She has to know that
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just ripping on him. So I just halfway was like,
Yeah.
watch out for the
Well,
Hey,
door did-
You
the
may
door
not suck
did
as
slams.
you may not suck as much as we do, but Boston still sucks too. So get over it.
they'll be fine this year. They don't. Yeah, I don't want
They'll
to
be
talk
fine
about the
this
Red
year?
Sox right now.
Yeah, yeah. I bet.
Our owner decided that he only cares about racing and soccer, and no longer cares about the baseball team.
I think that's pretty obvious based on your guys' record recently.
Well, I mean, we all whatever. There were some sources that came out in the middle of the season that said that John Henry said not to spend more than $80 million on players.
Ooh, that actually is a low mark for Boston.
That's
That's
tiny.
insanely low.
yeah.
In that
That's
division,
like-
Jesus.
That's like Pittsburgh Pirates low.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there were
That's-
multiple
that's
reports
Kansas
that
City
came out and
Royals
said
low.
we do not spend more than $80 million on baseball this year.
Oh, so you guys aren't planning more than winning. You're going to be with Colorado.
Oh,
Our number one pitcher was still Chris Sale.
Spiders Cup.
They won't be
Spiders
that
Cup.
bad. They won't be that bad.
Spiders Cup.
They
Oh,
won't
mark
be
it
that
down.
bad.
If you're
1
only paying
hour,
$80 million out, who the fuck you
27
buying?
minutes and 20
You
seconds.
don't have to buy anybody.
Mark said it's not gonna be that bad.
We actually have a pretty good farm system, unlike the Rockies.
That's because we trade all of our farm players away
Yeah, that
after
is
we train them.
That is
away
correct. Just like the
Draft.
Pirates.
We actually have a good farm system. The problem is by the time they get to the pros, we have already
Yeah.
gotten rid of them.
That's
Mhm.
correct. Just like the Pirates, just like the Milwaukee Brewers,
Yeah, fuck them.
just
too.
like it was in San Diego forever.
All right, let's put a bow on this fucker and finish it off.
Oh yeah, we're still doing a podcast.
Yeah, we're still
yeah,
we're not
this
just
is not
yeah,
a conversation in your living room. We're on the internet.
it's not actually talking baseball. Tank, talk about the stuff. Final thoughts. Do the things. Pimp it. Go.
Yes, you can see us again next week. We will have a Super Bowl preview, and we will have NTK. I believe we're probably gonna do the scramble first, and then NTK afterwards. Yeah, that's about it for that. You can find me at Tank Knox or Knox Nostalgia Collectibles on all of the socials. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, all those things.
Mark.
This is Mushu.
No, it's not. Mushu is a tiny red dragon.
He is red. You can't tell. There's red in there. It's like if you look
Mushu.
at him this way, he's green. You can't really tell with the lights, but there's red.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Mushu is a pork dish. Does he taste like pig?
Mushu is Eddie Murphy.
Also true.
It's pork. I love pig.
Maybe it's
That's what I got.
dragon.
That's all you got was Mushu.
Mushu.
All right. Make sure you check us out on all of our social channels. You can find My Brother's an Idiot Facebook group. Just search that, look for the black logo, click it, we'll get you in. You can also find My Brother's an Idiot on Twitch and Twitter at The Idiot Goons, and on YouTube is at My Brother's an Idiot. Mark's Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok are all at Poffle Time. My Twitch and Twitter at Poffleupagainst, and you can find me on TikTok at King Goon Smoke. Final thoughts. It's a pleasure and a blessing that Denver has two outstanding sports teams to talk about right now, because the other two are dog shit.
Damn straight.
For the now absent MJ, we love you, MJ.
Feel better.
For the absent, well, sort of absent Muti, he was texting us in the middle of the podcast, but for the absent Muti, we love you, Muti.
Muti.
For Tank and Mark, I am the King Goon. Make sure you take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and take care of each other. This has been My Brother's an Idiot. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
And take care of Gene Mingo.
There he is. There it was. I had to shoehorn that fucker in somewhere.
I forgot until like 20 seconds ago. Bruh.